How's it going, guys? So today I have a somewhat rough-looking Series X digital edition. The the eBay listing said that it powers on, but it's got a kind of a jacked up HDMI port. So you can see this thing is not in the greatest of shape. It does have some physical damage to the exterior. I don't know if you can see it from right here, but the HDMI port is damaged. Yeah, see it? So it's actually broken. So what I'd like to do is get this HDMI port replaced today and see if this thing is going to work. Now I've never worked on one of these before, but hopefully I can get it working. And I do not own one of these, so if I can get this if I can get this actually working, this is going to be for my personal use. This will be part of the collection. I don't even have a controller for it, but I'm sure we'll be able to see it fire up if it's successful. And if it does work, then I'll get whatever stuff that I need to actually play it later on. So let's get into it. Let's see if we can get this guy fixed. Now check this poor guy out. Now I have no idea what happened to this thing. So I don't have any backstory on it. It was just sold as is. Now I got this thing ridiculously cheap. I paid like $120 for it, I think. Uh, so I figured, for that price, it was worth taking a shot. All right, so let's get this thing open. Well, I don't think getting the housing off is going to be too difficult, seeing as how this thing's in such rough shape. Hoping I can maybe heat it up a little bit and maybe get some of that plastic bent back the way it ought to be. Okay, what do we got? Like I said, I've never opened one, so right now I'm looking at this bottom piece. Like, how the hell are you supposed to get this thing off? Hmm. Maybe I can get to that here in a minute. Okay, let's start with the ribbon cables. I'm wondering, do I need to take this out? Oh, there we go. Fan is out. Uh, it could do with a clean. There's one. There's two. All right, this guy here is glued. Okay. Those are out. What else do we got here? Will it come out yet? No. Don't think so. Oh, yeah. If I remember right, this does have to come off because there's some screws right here in the bottom of this thing. So how do we get this off? I don't want to break it. Okay, it looks like maybe there's a little clip right here. Maybe that comes up and lets it turn. Oh yeah, there we go. All right. So far, so good. And yeah, looks like we have four more screws. Marking the color of the screw on here. If I don't, I'll forget and I won't have any idea where these go. And even if I can get it working, I would really like to get it working without having any screws left over. That would be great. Okay, now I think we can get this guy out. He should just slide out, right? There we go. Poor Xbox. All right. Little by little, he's coming apart. Now I think we take the belt off, right? Have a feeling we're going to be finding a lot of that. Pieces of the plastic housing right here. Yeah. Okay. All right. Belt is off. Guess we should take this little module here off. I think that's the Bluetooth module. Okay, come off. There's quite a few screws. Guess we should start the power supply. Let's get the power supply off. Okay. No, I think this shield needs to come off first. All right, let me mark where these black screws go. Okay. Because I see that there's some silver ones in here with it. All right, let's see if we can get this off. Like I said, I don't want to break it further. Should pop off, right? Might want to take that one out. That's probably why it's not going to pry up. Oh yeah, there we go. Okay. Move that to the side. I'm dropping screws. I think we try and get the power supply off. And yeah, I see the little connector here. Probably wouldn't hurt to just go ahead and take it off. Looks like this guy here opens up. Yeah. And then, okay. Should just pull right up, huh? I think. There we go. Get any more screws back here? No? All right. Let me mark here. Just to kind of help me keep track. Well, there's one board out. Moving right along. I guess we need to remove that heat sink. I don't see any other screws on this side. But I don't want to lay it down that way either, because I don't want to lay it down on that ribbon cable. So I'll kind of hold it like this. That poor heat sink is disgusting. This poor old Xbox has had a rough life. And I really didn't think these digital editions were all that old. I think they've only been out a year or two, huh? So whoever had this one made it work for its money, didn't they? Oh, one more. Is it just one? Do we have any more? Okay. Ease that through. This is what I wanted. I think the best thing to do is maybe to add a little bit of low melt to this to help it come off, because I know this ground plane on this thing has quite the reputation. So let's get underneath the microscope and let's check it out, see what it's looking like. All right, I'm going to turn my iron temperature up to about 425. All right, let's get a little bit of this low melt on here. See if we can get it to bond. I think that's about giving it about as good a chance as we can give it. So now let's put the hot air on it. See if we can clean it up a little bit. All right, it don't look too bad. Now I'm wondering about this thing here. Is that supposed to have came out? I don't know. I don't think it'll be in the way. Shouldn't be, huh? Yeah, that should lay good and flat. I think that'll be fine. Okay. Let's pre-tin our HDMI port real quick. All right. Did we get it? I don't know. Think we got it. All right. Let's double check to make sure that we don't have any bridges. Quick clean on the back. Let's get those ground legs and supports soldered in. Okay, we have done the deed. I think we can do a little bit of cleaning and start putting this thing back together. First things first, thermal paste. Let's get this old thermal paste off and we're going to get it replaced. We're not Tronix Fix, so we're going to get as close as we can to the perfect amount. I think we just might have what it takes to get close. What do you guys think? Huh? Let's make Steve proud, huh? Not perfect, but pretty damn close. All right. Think we're far enough along at the moment where we can give it a test. Okay, moment of truth here. Let's see what happens. Give me a picture. Nice. Oh, that's a beautiful sight. Well, I don't have a controller to try this thing out, but now I think I'm gonna have to order one up. But we have a picture and we have power. All right, so let me finish getting this guy back together and we'll go from there. Assuming it's taking it a minute to come back from that massive trauma that it went through. Hopefully it'll come on. Okay. I'm going to leave it right here for a few minutes and see if it'll actually start up or if it's just stuck on the Xbox logo. I'll be back. And here we are. How awesome is this? All right. Could not be happier. All right. Let's get it shut down and get it back on the bench and finish getting it put together. Put this thing back together. Tell you, it's a real shame. It is. It's an absolute shame that the housing was so messed up on this guy. But even if the housing is just a little roughed up, that's fine. So long as it plays. And you guys know I have a soft spot for systems like this. I'm going to keep my eye out for a replacement housing for this thing. Maybe some aftermarket stuff will pop up eventually. Maybe we can get like cool little skin or something on it. Nice. Now for the back. Hoping maybe I can get this thing back into position a little better than it was. Okay. That is a little better than it was. At least the back closed up. Now it's just the part on the top. The broken grill above the fan. And finally, the last screw. I am very happy to report we have no leftover screws. Nice. One last wipe down. Okay. So at $120, $130 for an Xbox Series X, I can't complain. I've never owned one of these. I've always been a kind of a PlayStation 5 kind of guy. But when I seen the opportunity to get this thing at such a reasonable price, I felt bad for the condition that it was in. But I said, you know, it's time that I bit that bullet and attempted a repair on one of these guys. I've repaired a few. I have repaired a few PS5s, but this was my first Series X. And I got to admit, that was a very satisfying repair. But I want to thank you guys for joining me today, and I hope to see you again soon. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. And please like and subscribe, all that good stuff. It really helps the channel out a lot. Thanks. See you next time.